There isn't a record made that has any soul that didn't come out of the blues. And even people today like Prince and Bobby Brown, and they sing the blues.
For more than 60 years, Eric Clapton has been regarded as one of the greatest guitarists in history. His career produced legendary albums, unforgettable solos, and songs that continue to inspire musicians around the world. But behind the fame was a man who endured heartbreak, addiction, personal loss, and years of searching for peace. As Clapton grew older, his definition of success changed. Awards and sold-out concerts became less important than the people who had quietly shaped his life. When asked who meant the most to him, he didn't begin with chart-topping records or career milestones. Instead, he reflected on 5 extraordinary men whose influence reached far beyond music. Each left him with a lesson that stayed long after the applause had faded. 5. B.B. King, The Lesson of Kindness. To millions of fans, B.B. King was simply the king of the blues. His guitar, Lucille, produced a sound that inspired generations of musicians, including Eric Clapton. But it wasn't B.B.'s talent that impressed Clapton most. It was his character. Before meeting him, Clapton expected a larger-than-life legend. Instead, he found someone warm, humble, and welcoming. Whether he was speaking with a famous artist or a young guitarist just starting out, B.B. treated everyone with the same respect. Their friendship grew during some of the most difficult years of Clapton's life. While success brought pressure and personal struggles, B.B. never judged him. He reminded Clapton that music wasn't about fame or competition, it was about telling the truth through every note. The two eventually toured together, sharing stages before thousands of fans. Yet the moments Clapton treasured most happened backstage, where conversations about family, faith, and growing older often mattered more than the performances themselves. Years later, whenever Clapton played a slow blues melody, he didn't just remember B.B. King's guitar, he remembered the kindness behind the man who played it. For Clapton, that became B.B. King's greatest legacy. Not greatness on stage, but greatness in the way he treated people. 4. George Harrison, The Strength to Forgive. George Harrison entered Clapton's life as one of the world's biggest stars, but fame never defined him. Away from the spotlight, he was thoughtful, humble, and deeply passionate about music. The two quickly became close friends, spending hours discussing blues records, guitars, and the artists they admired. Their friendship seemed unbreakable. Then life changed everything. The complicated relationship involving George Harrison, Eric Clapton, and Pattie Boyd became one of rock music's most talked about stories. It caused pain that could have ended their friendship forever. Most people expected resentment to last a lifetime. Instead, George Harrison chose forgiveness. Over time, the friendship slowly healed. They shared meals, laughed together, played music again, and proved that even deep wounds can recover when pride is set aside. To Clapton, that forgiveness required more strength than anger ever could. As Harrison grew older, his attention shifted away from fame towards spirituality, family, and inner peace. Time spent with him became calm and uncomplicated. Sometimes the two friends would simply sit with guitars nearby, saying very little. The silence was enough. When Harrison passed away, Clapton realized he hadn't just lost a Beatle admired around the world. He had lost one of his closest friends. Even today, hearing one of Harrison's songs doesn't remind Clapton of stadiums or screaming crowds. Instead, it brings back the image of two friends talking quietly with guitars close at hand. It is a memory that never truly faded. 3. J.J. Cale, The Beauty of Simplicity. While many musicians spent their careers trying to stand out, J.J. Cale built his reputation by doing the opposite. He believed less was often more. Although millions knew Clapton's recordings of After Midnight and Cocaine, far fewer recognized the songwriter behind them. That never bothered JJ. Fame was never his goal. His music was simple, relaxed, and free of unnecessary showmanship. Every note served the song, and every pause had meaning. Watching Cale work taught Clapton that true greatness wasn't measured by speed or complexity. It was measured by emotion. That lesson quietly changed the way Clapton approached his own music. Years later, when the two finally recorded together, there was no rivalry and no pressure to impress one another. There was only the joy of making honest music. For Clapton, Cale proved that the loudest voice isn't always the most powerful. Sometimes, the simplest one leaves the deepest mark. 2. Duane Allman, a friendship that ended too soon. Some friendships take decades to grow. Others leave a lifelong impact in only a few months. For Eric Clapton, that person was Duane Allman. Before they met, Clapton had heard stories about a young guitarist from the American South whose slide guitar sounded unlike anyone else's. But hearing him play in person was something entirely different. Within minutes, Clapton stopped thinking about technique and simply listened. Every note Duane played carried emotion, and every phrase felt honest. That connection became the heart of Layla and other assorted love songs, one of the greatest rock albums ever recorded. At the time, Clapton was living through one of the most painful periods of his life. Yet Duane seemed to understand exactly what each song needed without long discussions. A single guitar line could transform an entire recording. Their sessions never felt like two musicians competing. They felt like two friends telling the same story through music. But just as quickly as that friendship began, tragedy struck. In 1971, Duane Allman was killed in a motorcycle accident at only 24 years old. His death shocked the music world and deeply affected Clapton. For years, listening to Layla wasn't easy. Every song carried memories of a brilliant musician whose future had been cut short. Even today, those unforgettable slide guitar melodies remind Clapton not only of extraordinary talent, but of a friend whose influence lasted far longer than the short time they shared together. 1. John Mayall, the man who changed everything. Long before the sold-out arenas, before Cream, before worldwide fame, there was John Mayall. As a young guitarist obsessed with American blues, Eric Clapton dreamed of finding his place in music. That chance came when he joined John Mayall's Blues Breakers, a decision that would change the course of his life forever. Mayall did more than teach guitar. He taught discipline, respect, and the importance of serving the music instead of chasing fame. His rehearsals demanded commitment, but he never led through fear. Instead, he gave young musicians the freedom to grow, make mistakes, and discover their own sound. Perhaps his greatest gift was generosity. Many talented artists pass through the Blues Breakers before finding success elsewhere. Rather than feeling threatened, Mayall celebrated their achievements. He understood a simple truth: helping others succeed never diminishes your own legacy. Looking back, Clapton often realized that without John Mayall's belief in an unknown young guitarist, the career the world celebrates today might never have existed. That lesson stayed with him. Throughout his own career, Clapton tried to encourage younger musicians just as Mayall had encouraged him decades earlier. Sometimes, one opportunity is enough to change an entire life. A legacy beyond music. When people remember Eric Clapton, they'll think of legendary guitar solos, timeless albums, and songs like Layla, Wonderful Tonight, and Tears in Heaven. But the story behind the legend is far more personal. Behind every performance stood 5 remarkable men who quietly shaped the person holding the guitar. B.B. King taught him that true greatness begins with kindness. George Harrison showed that forgiveness is stronger than bitterness. Cale proved that simplicity often speaks louder than showmanship. Duane Allman reminded him that music is at its best when it comes from the heart. And John Mayall opened the very first door, giving an unknown guitarist the chance to become one of the greatest musicians of all time. Together, these 5 men gave Eric Clapton something no award or record sale ever could. They gave him perspective. They showed him that success fades, fame comes and goes, but character is what people remember. Perhaps that's why, after decades in the spotlight, Clapton chose to speak not about his greatest songs, but about the people who shaped his journey. Because in the end, the greatest legacy isn't measured by the number of records sold or the size of the crowds. It's measured by the lives we touch, the kindness we leave behind, and the lessons that continue long after we're gone. And for Eric Clapton, those 5 remarkable men ensured that his greatest story was never just about music. It was about the people who helped him become the man the world came to admire.